Alright, welcome back to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, and trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so you can easily choose the best watch for yourself in the comfort of your own home. We offer the lowest prices anywhere online, and if you'd like to know the price, simply click on the links in the description below. We greatly appreciate if you purchase your next watch from us at JazzTime.com. Today we'll be going over two steel watches, entirely in steel, with diamond bezels. First one being a Patek Philippe Nautilus, a ladies automatic in gray opaline, black gradated dial in steel, reference number 7118/1200A, versus the Audemars Piguet 34mm self-winding royal oak, blue-gray grand tapisserie dial, also in steel, reference number 77351ST.ZZ.1261ST.01. We'll be talking about the cases, the bezels, dials, crown functions, and bracelets, and I'll be giving you my thoughts on all of those throughout the video. Now, starting off, we have the cases here. We have the Nautilus, the ladies automatic. Here we go. Let's focus on that. It's 35.2mm from finger to thumb. That's the diagonal. All right, up from the 33.6mm in the previous iteration. It has a thickness of 8.62mm, and it's also entirely in steel. The 9 o'clock side matches that of the 3 o'clock side in terms of, using that crown guard, giving it that symmetrical overall look, as is typical of the Nautilus style cases. The exhibition case back is also there for clear view of the movement, as you can see. All right, and it also has sapphire crystals on the front and the back. It also has a total of 60-meter water resistance. Now, in comparison to the royal oak here, we have 34mm from finger to thumb. It's 1.2mm smaller than that of the Nautilus. Focus, please. Okay. And 8.8mm thick, just 0.18mm thicker, and also entirely in steel. It has the fully rounded case, minus the octagonal bevels, of course. It has the exhibition case back as well, and a sapphire crystal on both the front and back. It has a 50-meter water resistance. Right? So when it comes to water resistance, the Nautilus has the offshore, or the royal oak rather, beat, but by just a margin. Okay, so looking at the case offerings now, the Nautilus, this is the only configuration with the diamond bezel and gray opaline dial in all steel, 35.2mm. There are also other iterations of this 35.2mm case, which has the all rose gold with the golden brown opaline dial, the steel with the blue opaline dial, steel with the silvery opaline dial, all in 35.2mm. The only other sizes for this are 32mm or 40mm, nothing else. All right, there are also options without the diamond bezel, and you just get the full steel version as well. All right, with the royal oak, this is only one of two configurations with the diamond bezel and 34mm case. There's the only other one being the pink, gold, and silver dial. All right, with the diamond bezel. The sizes for the royal oak are a little bit different from that of the Nautilus. You have either the 34 or the 37mm. You can get the 33mm, but they're only in the quartz style movement. So you can get them in titanium, pink, gold, white, gold, and steel. And among all the quartz offerings, only certain dial colors are available with certain case and bracelet materials. You can see that. You can see all those options on our website, jazztime.com. And when it comes to the case sizes, it's honestly up to you, the wearer. So we'll get to which one wins near the end. All right, so now again, we're going to go over the bezels here. Now, both of these watches have diamonds set into their bezels, as you can see. All right, now, which one would you prefer? Now, the Nautilus has 56 diamonds, totaling about 0.67 carats, all set regularly and with precise rotations, so that no spacing, there's literally no space among any of these diamonds going all the way around. Now, if I can, there we go, focus there. Now, there's literally no space between any two diamonds. It's all completely continuous diamond presence all the way around. All right, now when compared to the royal oak, we have exactly 40 diamonds in sections of 5, separated by the hexagonal screws, as is the signature on the Royal Oak bezel design. It has 0.71 carats, so you actually do get more diamond content on this bezel, despite the sort of interspersement and the interruption here and there of the white gold hexagonal screws. So here, I believe the Nautilus actually wins. Generally, because of how precise all these diamonds are placed, and they're completely interrupted. Although I do understand the Royal Oak offering, in keeping with their branding, the hex screws on the bezel are a signature of Royal Oaks, but they sort of get lost in the sea of diamonds, if you ask me, depending on the angle of view, right? Okay, so looking at the dials now, functionally they're basically the same. They both give you the hours. They have their hour and minute hands also loomed along with their index hour markers, and they also have the date. Although, when it comes to the looks, they're completely different. Now, the Nautilus has a gray opaline with gentle horizontal waves, black gradated, in other words, a radial gradient to black at the perimeter. The white gold applied hour markers also go all the way around with an Arabic number 12 and lance style hands, all with luminescent coating. The seconds track is also a section at the very perimeter, which is just a bunch of dots. All right, so very concise, quite elegant in its presentation. It has a date aperture at the 6 o'clock with a narrow font, black text on a white background, which matches that overall rhythmic look of the white appearing index hour marks. Now, in comparison to the Royal Oak here, we have a blue-gray dial with a ground tapisserie pattern with a gouache patterning to give it a sunray look. It also has white gold index hour markers with luminescent coating as well, matching the look of the Royal Oak hands. The date aperture on this one is at 3 o'clock position, also taking the space of an hour mark, but no white gold application here. It's sunken into the watch with a matching blue background and therefore squared out white font, where the number itself matches the color of the hour marks, as you can see if I get the zoom just right on there. Okay. Now, luminescence is the same on both of these, and you'll get excellent readability in low light situations. So let me turn the lights out here, and you can see, very easy to see both of them. All right. One is not necessarily brighter than the other, and I did a little test earlier myself. They both last about the same amount of length of time, so easily readable. The lance style hands on the Patek Philippe, however, do come out thicker in general, so you do get a little bit extra readability if you were to glance quickly, although that's not to say that the Royal Oaks are necessarily useless, because they do come out quite clearly as well. All right, anyway, turning the lights back on. So when it comes to the luminescence, that's kind of a non-factor here. I wouldn't worry about that too much, and overall, however, I think the Royal Oak actually wins here because the dial color is honestly better, and the gouache patterning gives it that sort of intricacy that leaves the Nautilus in a very actually distant second. So all of the index markers are just that, index, so you have more consistency there when it comes to the hour marks, whereas the Nautilus has the Arabic 12 that sort of sits by itself. Kind of wondering why they did that, but hey, it's Patek Philippe, they can do whatever they want. All right, now when it comes to the functions of the crown, both of these work fairly the same. You have, at the default position, you don't need to unwind it at all. At the default position, you can simply wind the watch. All right, no issue there. Pull it out to the next position there, and you can adjust the date by rotating that crown. Now, it's about a half turn to advance the date by one, so you will have to, well, it's actually not all that difficult to advance it to the next day, assuming you have 30 days in a month, all right? Not that big of an issue, all right? Now, pull the crown out to the final position, and you'll note that the seconds hand is still going, and I can move the minute hand, therefore, and adjust the time accordingly. All right, so keep in mind there's no hacking seconds function here, so And it's also not like you're really keeping track of time. This is not a chronograph, so seconds don't actually matter as much as the hour and minute, right? Because you don't give your seconds to someone who's asking the time in most situations, right? Now, looking at the functions of the Royal Oak, very much the same. At the very first position, you can simply wind the watch. Quite easy there. Pull the crown out to the next position, and you can rotate it to, it's about a half turn as well, to advance the date by 1 each time, right? Rather simple. Pull the crown out to the final position, and you'll note that it actually hacks that seconds hand, so you can then adjust the time precisely and synchronize it to an atomic clock, and when you're ready, just push it right back in, and you're good to go from there, all right? Now, keep in mind that hacking seconds for me is kind of what makes it pretty important. So when it comes to the crown functions, I much prefer that of the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. All right, now what makes all of this possible are the movements. The Nautilus has the caliber 324 SC with a diameter of 27 millimeters. It has a height of 3.3 millimeters, a Gyromax balance, Spiromax balance spring with 28,800 vibrations per hour or 4 Hertz. It has a central mounted unidirectional rotor in 21 karat gold. The Patek Philippe, hold on, let me try to get this in a good angle for you so you can actually see it. All right, so it also has the Patek Philippe logo stamped right on there, right on that rotor. Okay, as you can see there, it has 29 jewels, 217 parts, giving you 35 to 45 hours of maximum power reserve, all right? So this is more of a daily wear sort of watch, and certainly so, it's made entirely out of steel, all right? A little bit more on that later in the video. Now, compared to the Royal Oak, we have the self-winding caliber 5800 based on the Valcher VMF 3000. Now that's basically outsourcing their movement making to a different company that they actually trust to make their movements with precision, all right? So as I move it, there we can see the balance wheel as well. Okay, now stats for this one. Diameter is 23.3 millimeters. It has a variable inertia with gold inertia blocks, a flat balance spring. It also beats at a frequency of 28,800 vibrations per hour or 4 Hertz. It has the central mounted unidirectional rotor, as you can see here, with a specially made rotor with a frosted central texture with high polished bezels. It has 28 joules in total with 189 parts and a 50-hour power reserve compared to the 35 to 45-hour power reserve of the Nautilus. All right, so when it comes to the movements, I believe the Royal Oak just wins by a long shot. I like having that hacking functions for the seconds and having the longer power reserve. And at the end of the day, if your watch requires less attention to run consistently, that's a winner in my book. And I'm also holding the Nautilus upside down as I hear you screaming at me in the comments below. Okay, now when it comes to the bracelets, the Nautilus has the Nautilus Bracelet H-shaped links with high polish, rounded intermediate links with a fold-over clasp that allows 2 to 4 millimeters of extra bracelet length. Now, as you can see here, simply just pull on the clasp on either side and you can actually give yourself 2 millimeters on each side. All right, very, very handy, very useful there. It also has the double deployment clasp there so that you can then open it very, very easily. All right, and it also sizes very well on a tighter wrist and more slim fitting. Right, and also, there we go, we have a symmetrical Patek Philippe seal there, so it doesn't really matter which side you close first. Right, now in comparison to the Royal Oak here, we have also an integrated bracelet, and actually let me also touch on the sizing here. The sizing for the Patek Philippe is a sort of like bar and sleeve system, so you'll need a hammer with a little pin to actually physically push these pins out, and once the pin comes out, then the link will open and reveal a sleeve on the inside that's sitting within these intermediary high polished links. Now compared to the Royal Oak, we have screws on one side of the watch. All right, so all you really need to do is just unscrew it, pull the pin out, and you're good. Rather simple there. Now, when it comes to sizing, much easier, but there's no easy link extension. It's just you size it once and you kind of have to leave it. No sizing on the fly, all right? But this is also an integrated bracelet, all right, with the high polish on those like intermediary sort of in between link areas, as well as on the corners, these vertices continuing from the lugs, which start from the case. All right, so you have these high polish edges here with a satin brush finishing on all the major portions of this bracelet, all right? And we also have the double deployment clasp, but it's not fully symmetrical because one side has the AP logo and must open first, while the other side must open second. And when you fasten it closed, you must fold the side without the logo first, and then the logo follows suit, all right? So not that big of a deal breaker for me, but it might be for you. But again, here the Royal Oak wins because of the integration and the bracelet, and it just follows the overall look of the case. And when it comes to sizing, the screws actually feel much more secure than the bar and sleeve system of the Nautilus, where it feels kind of like a bar could potentially slip out, even though it's highly unlikely. And it's a margin of error that Patek Philippe definitely won't overlook. But screws to me generally just feel much more secure. You can see when they're coming loose, and they simply don't come loose. All right, now neither of these watches are sized to my wrist, so I won't be able to actually try them on, but I will tell you now that they're both incredibly light. The Nautilus generally just looks better in terms of its bezel and the spacing on the dial, giving it a much more open look. The AP feels a bit chunkier, and due to its angular aspects, but a bit more secure. The clasp is nice and thick, and isn't quite as likely to break. Now, taking a look at the clasp again, all these bars are huge, thick, actually held together by screws. All right, when you compare it to the Nautilus here, it's much thinner. All right, much thinner pieces of metal here. Granted, it's all steel, so it's not going to break anytime soon. Okay, if it ever does break. All right, so which is which? Which one would you choose? Okay, assuming I hold them in the correct orientation. Oh my God. Okay, there we go. So, the Nautilus is generally more mature and refined in its looks, generally more elegant, something that you'd wear to a more formal function or, in business attire. Whereas the Royal Oak, it feels more modern, it's sportier, and it can actually fit well even with casual attire. The most casual being, say like a t-shirt, baseball cap, shorts, sneakers, and the like. And so, also, price is kind of a thing. And as of early 2021, when I'm making this video, the Patek current market price is around the mid 40K, whereas the Royal Oak is around the low 30K. Now, when it comes to price point, the Royal Oak easily has the Nautilus beat. As of the making of this video, it's about 25 to 33% more affordable than the Nautilus. But if money were no object, it'd be a different story, and only one that you can tell. So which one is it for you? Let us know down in the comments below. And, continuing on that little topic there, what are the options that you have here? You could get a Rolex Ladies President Day Date or a gold ladies Rolex in general, but they might actually be too flashy for everyday wear. Now, these are also top of the steel manufacturing world. No other watch in steel costs more than this. None is higher, when it comes to, the overall presentation and regality that these, sort of symbolize and hold. So, who would buy one of these watches? Now, not everyone actually wants to wear a gold watch every day, and it's honestly too flashy, it's too malleable, and it's for someone who can drop this kind of money on a dime, almost literally, on a steel watch that has a hardness of 6 out of 10 on the diamond scale. The yellow, white, and rose gold variations of these watches are incredibly soft, incredibly malleable, and they don't last quite as long And so these benefits in steel translate into usability. These benefits, are designed to be worn, like these benefit the watches, so they're designed to be worn every day. And it's a constant, elegant, it's a casual, elegant art of really not caring at all. There are different ways of saying that, but you get the general idea. And if you can't decide, well, you can simply buy both at our website, jazztime.com. So you don't really have to choose now. You have the option on hand, literally, So if you guys have any thoughts on either of these watches, let us know down below in the comments. Be sure to like the video as it helps us out. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification so you can be notified when we go live with another video like this one. And as always, if you'd like to purchase either or even both of these watches, they're both on sale right now at jazztime.com. Links in the description below, and we'll see you in the next one.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to Model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.